Alright, it should be back up and running now. Sorry about that little snag we ran into there. So, as I was saying in chat, what we're going to pick up from here is actually designing some custom courses. So I'm actually going to update that real quick. There we go. And let's go ahead and switch over here. So, where am I? There we go. Nope. Here I am. It's off screen, that's why. Alright, so anyway, back to it. Toad Village. So this is where I left off when I was making the video for it. There we go. So we have the grass here, general layout. So as I was saying, the game doesn't treat this as a single model though, so what I'm going to have to do is split it up into several sections. I think for this one I'll probably need 1, 2, probably 5 for the course, and then a 6th for out of bounds area. So when you try to leave over here, or if you go into the pit here, where you wouldn't be able to get back out, both of those will be out of bounds. So, starting off, first thing is hitting prep course model. It's going to tweak all the verts ever so slightly so that they're at integer values with no decimal places. That's how the game stores all the integers, so it just makes sense to take care of that beforehand. So if you see any errors or if anything stands out, you can adjust it right away. Like this stands out. There, something a bit more gradual with the hill, something that matches up here. Looks much better. So, take a copy of this object. Like I said, it was 6. Now I'm going to start splitting off into sections. This is only for the surface geometry, so it's only things you can collide with. If there was anything I felt you weren't able to actually hit, I wouldn't include it with stop it right there. Okay, and drag it into section 1 surface. This part goes pretty quick. It's the section views. It was way long ago. Probably I don't even know when it came out, but I imagine sometime in the early 2000s would have been it, like 00 or 01. I had the N64 as a kid. I got it when I was like 6 or so. So I've played it for many years. Okay. Just because I don't know how far they'll be able to get out on that, I'm going to include that as section 2 as well. Is there anything on... No. So we're going to stop it right before you go into the cave there. Drag that onto surface. It is a game I love playing. We always would play it as kids, and even going into to high school, we'd still keep playing it. But there was only the 16 levels to play over, and a couple of them aren't so great, so you end up just playing the same ones again and again and again, and you can only do that for so long before you start getting bored of them. I had seen custom things for Mario and other games, so I was trying to find stuff for Mario Kart as well, because I figured that would be, you know, I love the gameplay, I just wanted more content for it. But there was only the 1 or 2 levels, so it was something I kind of, if I wanted it, I had to figure it out myself, so to speak. So I don't want the, suppose I can grab these. But this grass up here is going to be out of bounds. So I want this, but I don't...
Hey, you're very good! See you next time!
I need to turn down my volume. So I don't want this up on the hill here. I just want this area down here, and I actually don't want this in the center either, because that's also going to be out of bounds. By necessity, I mean, unless the player was to come all the way over here and hop over that little ledge, so it's easier just to have Lakitu put him back on the track. There's that one. Alright, so what am I left with here? This doesn't count. This doesn't count. so that's the last one there. Everything that's left. Or did I skip one? I did. Okay, so I don't need one. You don't need to name them anything in particular. I can name it. Yeah, I just named these so I can keep track of them. Do I need to split these then? No. No. You can't drive up those. Alright, when does it stop? Right here, right? Yeah. So this is going to be the out of bounds area. If the player touches any of these polygons, they'll just be out of bounds. Lakitu will put them back on the course. This here, I'm going to put back into section 4. Nope, no, no. Crap. I guess those should be out of bounds too, right? So I use the position of X to count the for the section count. So just by changing that down to 5, that put it down to 5 sections. Yeah, that was it. I mean, there was so much for Mario. It's a different game, of course. It's a much more popular game. So you're going to get a lot more people that want to, you know, to see stuff for it. But so there is a view limit. If you look at when I'm playing Mushroom Valley, when I come around the last corner, hey, what's going on, Triclon? When I come around the last corner, there's a rendering limit where it stops drawing polygons. Outside of that, you want to keep each view to about 1,000 to 1,200 faces with a limited number of materials. I had Peach's Castle has some section views that have 1,400, 1,500 views, and it's not so great. It really starts to lag there.
See you next time.
I don't have those. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Just a second. There we go. Not that. There we go. Alright, so anyway, back to it. So we just split up and we have all of our surfaces now, except for this last one, which I didn't put in yet. So this is the out of bounds area. Anything they hit here. And what are you then? No, 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 no. You're out of bounds. There we go. So we have our 5 sections. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the out of bounds. So now I need to take the master course again. Since I had made a copy before, we're going to make another copy. Another copy. So we need to split it by materials. Now we have a whole bunch, excuse me, a whole bunch of smaller objects based on the materials that they use. So this one is different because it has the door texture on it. And that's the grass, so on and so forth. So now we did take these and split them up into smaller objects. So if I took, I'm going to turn off that and all of these, so that I'm just working with this. And I just want to do, so this is material 1, so just something quick and simple. But I do want it to be, I actually mixed that up. Something along those lines. Oh, slow down. So detaching each object, making a material number, so it's a 1, so I'm putting in a 1, an underscore, and then some random characters. The section limits, I don't know if there is one in the game. I'm sure there is. It's probably like 128 or some other number like that, some other standard integer limit. But for the custom levels, I limited it at 32. I have to add some kind of structure to the course to where data was to be able to write the same assembly instructions for every course. So I'm thinking the camera's over there for some reason. So I limited it at 32, so that way it doesn't have to store a whole bunch of extra variables for each course, and it makes it a little bit simpler. Just the last one, so then we'll just name this. No, that can't be the last one. That's 30 faces, oh goodness, what a waste. So then I'm going to select all of the objects that I just made, put the number 1 and hit auto part, and it'll give me unique names for them. So again, I didn't even really have to name them, I just had to detach them all. So I'm going to do the same thing here. So these are very easy, since they're all individual already. I'm just going through, selecting the entire object. Alright, so there's nothing left in this one. I want to delete it. And all of these will be material 2. Automatically updates the name. Yeah, Rainbow Road, I don't know the exact number, but it actually didn't have that many because the sections are so large and there's so little to draw. It only has to draw the road. Something like DK Parkway, though, had like 24 or 25, and it wasn't helpful. Even dividing the level up that much didn't do much for it. Alright, take these, put them back in here. That's material 3 is the doors, so. Attaching these. And the reason we're doing this again is to get individual objects. So we want a whole bunch of small little objects of the same material that we can make the list out of. So I need a list for every section view of what objects to draw. And so first we have to divide the course into a whole bunch of objects. So these were all, and now there's nothing left, right? So we can get rid of this empty object. All of these were material 3. And now they have a name. Put them back in here. Now it gets a little bit trickier. So before, again, it was easy because we had everything was a single object, but now it's a very large connected piece. So again, we want small chunks, and most of the chunks that we want to be square shaped. We don't want pieces like this, because this you can see from a whole bunch of different angles, whereas small chunks you are only going to see when you're close to it or when you're looking directly at it. It'll help you when you're trying to, especially with very complicated courses, to keep the polygon count down, so you don't have to keep as many objects in the scene. So we're going to have to go through and divide all this up. I do actually. Give me just a second while I'm, let me finish detaching these real quick, just so that I don't leave half through something. Alright, that's a good spot. So save that real quick. I don't even know where There we go. So this is the actual course. I'll turn on, so very simple, not a lot going on as far as the faces or anything goes. The idea is you would start in the middle, as always, in the circle. Items would be around in the blue ring, and then the red ring kind of dips down around the outside to give you a cover. Same on the inside, it dips in. So the yellow is the high ground. So you can't really see over that ridge. You can't obviously see behind these green blocks. But other than that, the course is open. Yeah, absolutely. Once the levels are in, I mean, most of the hacks I assume would work with it. The battle courses are very simple. There's one section. Hello, Rain Shoes. How are you? There's only one section and the 4 views, so this is the entire display list. So it's easy to make, it's just a lot of things to figure out, so it's one thing at a time. Thanks. Yeah, no, I like this. It's simple, but that's the point. You know, the battle courses, all the ones that we have, Skyscraper is probably the best one. All the other ones, it's too easy to I don't know, like Block Fort. Every time I play in Block Fort, someone sits on the top on an item box and shoots red shells and green shells and whatever pops out. So it always ends up camping on item boxes. It's never really plays out the way it's supposed to. So I'm hoping with more open levels that don't have as many places to kind of hide, you end up with more dynamic battle games. I would not have picked that up, so thank you. I would not have gotten that. I'm glad you said something. Alright, so there's the battle course. Let me back out here. Also, here's some other interesting bits while I'm at it. So I was mentioning in another stream how I had made a demo course that was about 80 faces, and this is it. So it was extremely basic. You started here, did a circle, came back around, and let me tell you how happy I was when I got this to show up for the first time. Oh man, I was over the moon. And so then I tried to make something a bit more dynamic, and that's where this came in. And I didn't understand how the UVs worked yet, and so I kept having errors where it kept crashing. Technically, I mean, this, if I'm not mistaken, is like fully fleshed out. It's in an older format, but it's more or less good to go. I could probably redo this and remake it now if I wanted to. This was going to be course number 2. Never ended up... The course previews are actually working to an extent. I have them coming up, but they flicker. So it takes a... I probably have a pretty long buffer time on the stream. Sorry about that. Yeah, the previews come up now, but they flicker because Nintendo thought it'd be a great idea if every couple frames they would just reload the textures from the ROM. So I have to compete with that until I figure out how to turn it off. So back into here, we're gonna finish cutting these out. Alright. And when you are detaching these, you don't really want it to be more than about 20 faces or so. The way that the compiler and Overcart puts everything together, yeah, once we figure out where it is, it'll be easy. That's the tricky part. For me, at least, that's the tricky part. And then, of course, then I have to reload and load them myself, which is going to be a pain as well. But that's not a big deal, because I'm pretty much doing that already, loading in the custom ones. The course objects don't match the surface objects. In the actual game, they use the same objects to draw both the collision and the regular geometry. But I'm not worried about the data space, and so it's usually more convenient to be able to separate the two and treat them separately. Would save some space, I suppose, if I were to combine them, but I've had too many instances where it's been convenient not to. The course previews, sorry. Yeah, the textures for them are, they're loading, but Nintendo, for some reason, every like 2 or 3 seconds, they reload their textures from the ROM, and so I have to compete against that until I figure out where that function is and we get rid of it. Again, for some reason, they thought that they needed to reload them every couple seconds. I don't know why, but that's what they're doing. So after I load mine into memory, they load theirs back in a second or two later. I imagine that there are some generic, like, load data functions that just load everything from the cartridge. And then at the beginning of every of their functions, they probably reference those just as fail-safes, just to know everything would be in place. I don't know why they have to do it every couple seconds, but that's what I'm guessing it is that there were just a bunch of functions that loaded data and that they called them all the time. Even though a lot of these aren't that many faces, I'm still detaching them because it's a small amount of area. And even though 6 faces or 5 faces doesn't seem like a lot, when you suddenly have to, render all of this for no reason, 41 faces does matter. So it's nice to be able to keep them small, again, so that way you know exactly what you're looking at, and you don't have long strips. And suddenly, because I can see these 4 faces, I have to render this entire strip. So that's why I'm splitting these up so small. 2 more, where are they? Are you kidding me? I can't even see that. Okay, hold on. This here, and this here, they're going to be one thing. Congratulations. Where were we? So select all of these objects, and this one here, and this was material 4. Course preview code addresses. Give me just a second. Course preview textures in here, let me just pull this over here. Located here in memory. This, I believe, was a lie. They were taller than that. So when I don't remember the exact height offhand. Give me another second to find that as well. No, that one was fine, I guess. I don't think that way. There was something that I got the wrong height for. Oh, I had edited this, that's why. So yeah, it's 128 by 78. If you look in Pit Stop or something else, it gives you the wrong height. I think it's 128 by 72. And that's why I thought there was the padding, perhaps. But yeah, so this is the memory address here. I'll post that in chat. And again, that 10 bytes of padding might have been me misunderstanding the size of the data because Pit Stop gave me a bad size, I believe. So don't quote me on the 10 bytes of padding. I know that they're that far apart, though. Anyway, moving on. Also, I don't know why they loaded them twice. I assume it's because when you click... Wow, that was fast. If you found it already, I'm going to be pretty annoyed, honestly. Because it's been frustrating me for a while. I wish I knew whatever you knew. Alright, so splitting these up now. What material is this? 7. So, taking out all the mushroom heads. Delete that. Crap, what are all of these? Okay, so I didn't ever do the grass, I guess. Whoops. Okay, so all of these have to be what material for? There we go. Drag them all into course objects. Ah, that's right. Starting over. All of these. Triclon, do you have the, Here, 1 second. See if I can even find where that would be. Anyway. I'm assuming that's it then, if it's randomly called every few seconds. I don't have the file offhand where I had the, Let me know if you need something to test it with, Triclon. Oh, that would be even better. That would just be cheating. That's not fair. Thank you. I don't know why they would have that in there then. That's really annoying, honestly. I understand, again, when I switch between cups, but not when I'm just sitting there not doing anything. Anyway. What's number 5 there? Actual track. Alright, splitting this up. At the very least. Yeah. Give me a second, actually. Triclon, I just sent you a file, Triclon, that you should be able to use. That's okay. So I guess that was also the code that updates. You know what it probably does is every couple seconds it probably just blindly updates whether or not you've switched. And then because of that, it updates whenever you do switch over between cups. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what it's doing. Lazy programmers. I can still work around that, though, if that's the case. That would actually be fun. Get rid of the function. Yeah, that was just a random file that I sent that has the new hot swap where it updates the UI. So knock whatever function he mentioned, whatever address. See how that does. Alright, last here. Still quite a bit though, the clips. I got excited because I was like, alright, last one. Meanwhile. Going along. Very monotonous, unfortunately. It's the R button when you're on the cup select screen, not the course select, the cup select. Ew, I'm glad I saw that now. Crap. Alright, here's what I'm going to do. There we go. Now, instead of having to remap the entire thing, it's nice and seamless. Screwed that up a bit, but that's alright. Make your sacrifices where you do. Yeah, every like second it just pops back in. And then mine, you know, is doing the same thing now, which is just as bad, but I had no choice. So getting rid of that function didn't take care of it, obviously. Always backface call. Gotcha. Alright, so this is it. All of these, material number 6. So now I have all my section objects. I need to split these by material as well. So I'm going to hide my course master objects. Show this. 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 So here's the surface map, which in this case is actually the same as the level layout. Hey, have a great night. Sorry if I missed Trev47. Have a great night. Wow, you guys did a whole bunch. 1 second. Found it this time, not something. Character select screen is correct. That's my fault. That's not theirs. It's probably because I'm continuing to write the data again and again and again, trying to fight Nintendo. I don't believe I'm registering that I backed up into the previous screen. So that's why it gets corrupted. Okay, so not selecting that. These are probably going to be fine. The reason I have to split objects down into smaller bits, the way the compiler works for Overcart is it only loads 32 verts at a time, and it loads them 32 consecutive verts at a time. So if I were to have, for example, a very long connected object that somehow went from vert 1 to vert 67, I have no way of being able to load both of those verts at the same time. This will most likely not have that issue. I doubt that the verts will be more than 32 apart, so it's probably going to be fine leaving objects like that in one single object. Try knopping the same function in a stock game, because again, I know that even without getting rid of that function, I screwed up the character select screen. It got completely garbled. So I would try getting rid of that function and see how it works in a stock one. does, good. So it's just me screwing up. Alright. Like that. Like when I make mistakes. I can fix mine. So these I'm definitely going to split up because I do not know what the vert indexes would be on them. And these I actually also need to name differently. So I'm going to do that in a minute. For right now, I'm just going to... No, what did I just do? Undo that, whatever it was. Section 4 surface, okay. And then this is nothing, so we can delete that. Oh! Well, that sucks. Well, I don't know what I'm going to do with that then. I'm not going to reanimate the characters, I'll tell you that. I will tell you that. I suppose once I get to that screen, I'll get rid of that function. There it is. Yeah, Rain's got it. Rain's got it figured out. That should be fine. That should be fine. That's fine. Those are fine. Those are fine. Fine. Not fine. Fine, actually. This is going to be okay because, again, all the verts are consecutive. I'm going to leave that together. Fine, fine, fine. This will probably be okay too, but I'm still just going to split it up a few times. No, don't delete, attach. That's fine. Probably okay, but let's go ahead and do that. And that's in the stock game you're saying, right? $101. That I'm gonna have to split up. Shame. Yeah, that I can deal with. I can deal with reloading the courses, but if the characters are all screwed up, I can't fix that. Not easily, at least. I mean, I'm sure I could, but I can't. That's right. That was the idea. Yeah, so that's fine. But I mean, it should. Is it going to have an issue when I'm backing back out then? I guess I'm going to have to catch the B button real early before it loads the next menu back in. It's tough trying to figure out what menu is loaded because it doesn't always. I mean, I just have to understand the menu bits a little better as well, I guess, and try to keep track of those. No, wait, stop. Don't. Very good. Yeah, there's a couple bytes that track, but they're weird how they work. So they increase by 1 every time you press the A button, and then if you hit the B button, there's a single flag that gets turned to 1, and the menu that you're entering goes 1 above maximum, if that makes any sense. So let's say I would hit the A button, it turns to 1, and that's selecting Mario. And then I hit the A button again, it turns to 2, and that's hitting OK to go to the course select screen. When I hit the B button flag gets turned to 1, and the character select screen goes to 3 for some reason. I don't understand it. And then as you back out, it goes to 2 and 1, and I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, but again, I just have to figure it out a bit better and figure out what it's doing. Yeah, I don't know. Again, it's tracking how far you've progressed through the menu. Each menu does that, so it goes from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3. I don't know. Stop breaking my dreams, Triclon. That's not why. It's not why you're here. It's like, no. You want to pick me. Trust me. You want to choose me. You picked me. Stick with your gut. There we go. All right. So. That should be good. I'm going to go ahead and run. I'm going to save. I'm going to save a backup. to save over the original file. And let's go ahead and run the section views. It's going to go through every object and every object's vert, and it's going to compare the verts of every surface object, and if it is further north, east, south, or west of, depending on which view it's currently running, it will add that object to the list. So this gets a huge number of false positives, a gigantic number of false positives. But it's better to delete objects. It's much easier to delete them than it is to add them back from the course objects. So it's not a bad thing necessarily that it's all the false positives in there. Yeah, I mean, technically there should be, if you're saying there's a whole bunch of jumps in that function, I imagine one of them would be leading to where the course textures are. I could tell you where the data is getting DMA'd from off of the cartridge. I don't know if that would help at all. So there's the address of the MIO file. So that's getting DMA'd off of the cartridge, and then it's getting, from wherever it's DMA'd to, it's MIO decompressed to that address in RAM. So the first one would actually be from here. It would be from 7B7 0AC to some address in memory where it's stored temporarily, and then it gets unpacked to the address that I mentioned before. So that was so again, don't know how much that might help because there's that step in between where we kind of lose it. But all right, so 2 minutes and 49 seconds, we have our section views. So I'm going to hide all of this. This is just the surface geometry. So if I was in section 1, which is anywhere on these polygons here, that's okay. That's okay. I do this every time too. Every single time. This is why we have backups. So we're going to take everything here. We're going to do our edit mesh modifier. Good. And that's probably in the same function that that loads the textures for the shell or something silly. All right, rotate it all by 90 degrees. So the courses have to go Y positive to start. That's not right.
Hey, you very
I think technically they
See
could
you
go y
next
negative
time.
as well. Thank you. Appreciate that. How's the day been going for you, QRAM? Alright, so now we're headed Y. I actually want to do 180 here. Now I have to queue up all the verts again to make sure they're at pretty values. No, that's a follow. That's just someone, yeah. No, I hope no one pays me. That's just there as just to be there. Again, I don't have any expectation of anyone donating or anything like that. I do this for fun. I enjoy this. So I need to take away 0.1 and 0. Off by, what is it? I don't even know what that is. So I need to subtract 0.2. There we go. Nice even numbers. And since I had already cleaned these up earlier, I know within reason all of these are going to be, come on. I mean, that doesn't matter. I'm just being OCD about it now, but there we go. I did all the work for it. I might as well have it. So back to saving that, and now that it's in the right direction, we can run the section views. It took about 3 minutes last time. It wasn't facing the right way. The course was 90 degrees tilted, so east was north, everything was messed up. It wasn't going to be good. You know, now that you mention it, I was looking through all the ASM that I could to try to find either of those halves of the address, and I couldn't find either one. The 0720 or whatever it was, or the other part. Not that I would be able to find it because I'm, you know, stupid, but I could not find anything that that even fit the profile, the last 4 characters there. Mm-hmm. You know, would you be able to find? this one, 7A. Oh, good job, Tyler. There we go. Yeah, that there. If you can find that, that might be the first one, and then the rest are all, you know, in order after that, so to speak. I doubt it, but it's a thought. All right, 3 minutes again. Nah, I didn't think so. So it's trying this again. If we were in section 1 and we were facing north at the start of the race, these are the objects that would get drawn. Again, for this here, they would draw all these objects when you were facing north. So if I was anywhere in section 1 facing north, the idea is I would see everything, but the things I wouldn't see wouldn't be getting drawn. And then same for east. If I was facing towards the east, you'd have to draw all of these objects. And again, it does pick up some things that I might not need, but it's better than having, because I can just take this and hit delete, and now it's out of that section view, as opposed to going into the course master objects, selecting the object, hitting clone, minimizing this, going to temp section, selecting it, and dragging it into the section view, which is how I have to add an object in. That takes a lot longer. I don't want to do that. So it's easier just to delete things. Speaking of which, I don't need that object. Deleting it. So I have the section views. I'm sure those are good for the majority of the course. I mean, I could go through and check each one, but I'm not too concerned. There are some that are probably like 1,200. I don't need that many. So I might go through later on and clean these up. Yeah, so the thing, QRAM, so the course preview textures, every 3 or 4 seconds, they reload from ROM. We don't know why, but they're doing that. So when I swap in new things in RAM, Nintendo reloads it and overwrites what I swap in. So I have to fight back and forth with what Nintendo puts in and put in my stuff instead. So we were trying to find a way to get around that and stop their code from continuing to load something again and again. All right, so next step then would be the course paths and the objects. So I'm going to hide all of this stuff. The only thing I'd like now is the original master course object so I can see the whole thing at once. I'm going to hit the button that says create pop objects. This takes a second or two. It's going to create a generic course path for me, as well as the lists for a whole bunch of object positions. So any trees I want, I can have up to 64 trees, 64 piranha plants, and 64 item blocks, which still aren't working. I don't know why those aren't in. We're trying to put it on top of the existing. So on top of the existing 16 courses, we're hoping to add new ones to it by swapping in data with custom ASM code running. So we're trying to make that as legitimate as possible. So this course path that I make is very basic. The paths for the course need to be 800 points. They can be different in general, but to keep a generic assembly instruction for loading all the courses across all the custom courses that might be made, we keep at 800 points for the course paths. So I don't use the one that I create with the plugin. I'm going to delete that. Thanks. Yeah, anything you might have that would help, we'd greatly appreciate. So under splines here, I'm going to go for a line. The starting line is going to be, say, here. And then for key points, I'm just going to go around the track and start to, especially around the turns. And I'm going to be able to fix the height later, so just trying to get I actually want to, I wasn't doing too bad. So we'll pick up from here, say. Much easier from a top perspective. I don't know why I was doing 3D there. And so going through the whole course and creating a spline. And now I'm going to clean up the individual points. Yeah, that'd be much better. Let it load everything for me instead of me doing all the work. So I'm trying to straighten and tighten everything up here for the course paths before I, what I'm going to do in a second is I'm going to divide these until I get to 800 points. But before I do that, I need to first clean everything up and then also update the height. We'll do that in just a moment as well. We're going to combine these in a second, so we'll get these right on top of each other. Oh, Tricon, you and your assembly. I think I know what an SW is. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to load my 32-bit offset from my my header file, and I'm going to write it to wherever the address is. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to do any SWs and all your crazy shenanigans. Alright, so attach these two together. I'm joking. I did know in a small bit what it was, but there we go. link those two together. God, what's happened? Oh, there we go, selection lock. Okay. So now we're going to take these and start moving them along the hillside here. Yeah, which the Mario's Raceway one? There we are. Alright, so moving these down. No, wrong side, this side. We want to keep these just about on the surface of the course. That one went too far down. There we go. So I'm just going to drop these, say there. No problem, Jacqueline. Thank you. Helping out with everything you're looking at. This stuff starts driving me crazy. All the little monotonous things like this. Just tweak this, move this, tweak this, move this. Can only do it for so long. Start losing it. Alright. So it's right here. Alright, just about wrapped up with the paths, then we can divide them. I'm sure there's at least a few points that I want to clean up, like right here. Alright, and there we go. So now we have, what do we have, 85 points. We need to make that 800. So take the 85 segments, and where'd that divide button go? Got up to about 680 here. What happened over on this corner? These not high up enough? No, they're not. Oh, they are. And there we go. So that should get us 800 with 800 points, and that's our course path. So take the course path here. It doesn't have to be named anything. I'm actually going to name it something a little different. It just has to be a child of the course paths object. For now, I'm just going to take the trees and objects and things like that, place them under the level, just to get them out of the way, and do an export pop. Okay. Save this. Alright, so let's go ahead and give it a shot, see how it goes. I'm going to load the FBX file. It's giving us a warning because one of my materials doesn't have a texture. This is an update that doesn't crash now, it just lets me know. And so if we go over and look at that, we can see unusable is the material that is applied to these objects down here. But all of our other materials showing up just fine. It's 5 sections. So let's go ahead and give it a name. Give it Toad's music. Nice bright sky. This is going to be the Flower Cup Course 1. Two. 222. $54. 212. Actually, no, I'm sure it's this one. Okay, so select our pop file with the course paths and the objects. And I don't have any of these. I don't have a preview image or a banner image yet, but I'm just going to use a different one. I'll use the one for Mushroom Valley, and nobody will know. Flower Cup, Cup 1. That's all set. All right. Please select an output directory. That's right. I need to make one of those. There we go. So it's giving me a warning because one of my objects, oh no, I didn't do this right at all. That's okay. But because it doesn't crash, the warning doesn't matter. All right, so it says it's finished. This is not on console. I don't know why that banner is up, but ignore that. You gotta catch up. All right, so let's see.
Select your player. Select map.
Okay, well, let's promise. Nope. So something went wrong. I'm not sure exactly what. I'll have to look into it more. But it just completely crapped out. It's running at about 500 frames a second. But I suppose I can start taking a look at that too. Why not? So here's segment 6, which usually contains most of what's going on. This is the master display list. So if 2688 isn't the beginning of a display list here, we have a problem. No, it's good. It's exactly where it's supposed to be. Section 7, segment 7, object 8. So I didn't write anything after the surface IDs. I should go back and do that. That was one of the mistakes I had made, I noticed. But I didn't think it would matter. Shouldn't have mattered. No, it shouldn't have mattered. So I'm not sure exactly what caused it to crash there. Let me switch back out. Alright. Well, I suppose I can at least start with that. Let's rename all the surfaces. You might have also gotten confused because some of them probably are sharing names and they shouldn't be. So let's fix that as well. Let's see. No worries, Triclone. We'll figure this thing out. One way or another, we're going to figure this thing out. Alright, so looking at our little chart here, out of bounds, it's FD. We use decimal when we do it in the 3DS when we're naming it, so FD we're going to do 253. So everything in section 5 is going to be out of bounds. It's 253, done. Now the road is all going to be 1, and the grass is all going to be 8. So if we go through, select all the pieces of grass that aren't out of bounds, and we do have to get all of them because we want everything to have a unique name. So we want to get all of these at once. Once we have all our surface objects, okay, that's all of them. Nope, missed one. These are out of bounds, so that's different. I'm going to put the 8 now and do auto part. Same thing. So now we have all of our 1s. This is going to be, what, 255 for solid for walls. That's not all that's walls, because all of these are going to be as well. So we're going to undo that. No, I actually want to reselect all of those. I also want these. So all of those are 255. 5 is the actual road, so let's go around. Select everything that makes up the road. That's going to be 1. It's 3. Ah, sugar. Also 255, so let's back up then. There, so 255, and then the road will finish up as 1. So let's try running this again, I suppose. You know what I didn't do before? I didn't try loading another course beforehand, which is normally what I have to do with some of them. So maybe I'll try doing that as well, seeing if that fixes it. While that's going, actually, before it does, let's delete. Good. Alright, try again.
Welcome to Mario Kart. Time trial. Select your player. Select map.
Alright, so that didn't work.
Map.
That's over here.
Map.
It's weird.
Grand Prix. Select your player. Select map.
Well, or never.
Select your player. Select map.
Weird.
Select map.
Okay, so that's progress. Oh wow, I am way up here. Also, it used the wrong music. Still falling. You can get me even close to the course. What is this? How long am I gonna go? Am I even falling still? I'm not! Interesting. Definitely not right. I can almost see the course. It's right there. It's right there. Yeah, that is so fitting, the failure music. I don't know why it's the failure music. It's supposed to be Toad's Turnpike. So maybe that's Toad's Turnpike? I don't know. I must have missed up one of the... also the entire surface map, but that's another thing. Yeah, I have no idea what was going on with the paths, though. That was weird. And this is the first one here, right? Oh, well, that's probably part of it. Where the hell does it start? Why do I start here? Starting there, though. I'm starting way up there. Anyway. Oh. Yeah, I'm wondering if because it knows the first address, if it just goes in order, one after the other after the other. What's going on here? Make this first. This last? No, so I need to reverse it then. There we go.
Select your player. Select map. Select map.
Same thing. I don't know why I'm not hitting some type of water though. That's strange. Usually you would bottom out, you would hit the water and get brought back to start. At least I have the music grid now. It's the wrong one, but... Huh, so it's not matching. Oh, interesting. Yes, I did see that on the bottom triclon. It was like right as I came down. I don't know why it's not putting me down there, and it's putting me all the way up top. What I think this might be, unfortunately, and I'll find out in a second, I guess, when I load this one up. I just loaded the wrong course paths that I just switched around. I'm thinking that when I mirror, when I flip the course, I just changed how I did that recently, and it looks like it might be, the course pads might not be good. I might not be mirroring them the same way, right? Well, that's still no good. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to look into what I'm doing with those. Might as well pull that up too. Also, just make sure the actual positions are right. Take a look at the file. Yeah, normally it puts you at the very first point, and that's where the starting or finish line goes as well. So I don't know why it's putting me so far up in the air. I mean, it also does try to find the first piece of surface geometry, and it tries to put you there, but clearly it's not. Okay, loading up all sorts of stuff here. So for starters, 581, 291, 724. $581, $291, 0. Where the hell did you get 724? 0. Can't you read? 724? Why? Alright. Looks like the computer crapped out there for a second, but I don't need to load Visual Studio anyway. 724. Where are you getting 724 from? And the next one's completely different. Oh, never mind. I'm misreading it. 291.7240, which is exactly what it is. Yep, that's exactly what it is. Okay. Thought I was on to something for a moment. So, yeah, I do need to look at how. So let's save this, close. And I guess I do have to take a look in Visual and see what my game is doing. But, you know, I think I might just, today, play some more Mario. So, put this back in. Take a quick look at the pop function for Mario Kart. Whew. All right, looks like we're coming back in now. Anyway, that was actually Project 64 still running in the background at 60% of my CPU. What was I looking for? The pop objects. Load pop. So right now we're keeping the Y and the Z. And when I write it, I flip it. -1 for the Y, Z, X. -1 for the Y, Z, and X. Now when I do the hop swap, I guess actually it's here. XYZ, XYZ. What? The hell is that? Why do I do that? That doesn't make any sense. Okay. Do I flip the Y? Where do I flip Y? There we go. Or actually write the verts. There we go. Create the vert array. Y times -1. X, Z, Y, and -1. Yeah, so as far as I know, those should match up. So, yeah, figure it out another day then. That's going to be it. And we'll switch over to here. I'm going to switch over to my TV. I'm going to do more of the Rainbow Road course I was doing earlier, the
Mario Kart.
funny looking one.
Time trial. Select your player. Select map.
Oh, too far. Chainsaw comes, go around to him. Watch for Chainsaw. Alright, coming around this last bend here. Watch for chain chomp on this. It's tough. It's so narrow here. And he's always coming if you've got a good cycle. Alright, 151. Even 145, not for that chomp. Ah, that's it. It's tough doing the drifts on those turns because it's downhill. So as you jump, you have to wait another second or so before you land and go to do the drift back and forth. Otherwise, you're turning right and left, and then you end up flying off the course. Okay, just gonna bail out. Come on, Chomp. Chomp! Kill him. That other turn is sharper. It starts out wide and then it comes in sharp. And I always forget that. I didn't make an even curve by mistake, or it's a bad design, whatever it is. So that one little bit of the bend is just a little sharper. I'm gonna hit every chain chomp now. Oh, what a terrible mistake. Not getting me this time, sharper corner. I was ready for you. Alright, bringing it home for lap number 3. Just a flat plane, and then one ramp leading back up. That would be so punishing. This game is already so brutal when you fall off on this kind of level. I remember if there's like 1 or 2 spots, the very highest point on Rainbow Road, and if you hit somebody off there, they plummet for like 30 seconds. You just see them tumble end over end. Having to land on the bottom and then come back around. I don't think I'd ever get someone to play that.
Welcome to Mario Kart. Time trial. Select your player. Select map. Let's go.
They just reset anyway, so it wouldn't matter. As soon as they'd fall on that road, it would be the reset button. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Just jump over the fence. Not the reset. Yeah, screw those guys. The retry button just is the continue game button. They do the same thing. 10 minutes, nice. Yeah, it starts the next race at a half hour. You know, the door looks fine from far away, but when you get up next to it, like, Jesus Christ, look at that door. Look at how big it is. Imagine if I made this to the same scale that that Link had it and Zelda did. It'd be like a 5-second lap. Ugh. Nope. I built this one pretty decent. Except for, you know, that. Except for that giant glitch. Ooh, that'd be good. Do you have to jump over them, or do you dodge them? That would actually be pretty cool. I would enjoy that. That would be fun. Just dink, dink. That would actually be hilarious. That's a great idea. Yeah, get ready for Lon Lon version 2. That's actually a really good idea. I'm gonna probably have to do that, at least as a, if not as the real thing, at least as a gimmick. What is it? Drive around the fountain 3 times, right? You have to unlock all 120 stars. After all of that, you can unlock Luigi. Race around as him. Yep, it's one of the stats. I don't know where it is in RAM, but I know, yeah, I could find out where it is in RAM. Yeah, just edit that. Man, these polygons piss me off. Every time I see them, it's just a little reminder. I still don't know what I'm doing. Send me a, shoot me a message or something if you know right offhand where the RAM address is. I know I could look it up, but I know there's a couple, the 1500cc document, I'm pretty sure has it. But yeah, if you have it already, just send me a message, let me know. Save me a little bit of Googling. You know, despite the simplicity, I really like this course. I like what it looks. I think it's a good vibe. Once the sky is the right color, at least. It's not hot pink or blue. As simple as it is, I do like it. All those polygons. Nowhere to put them. They clearly seem to be originating from the starting banner, so I'm thinking that's the same area that the sky textures are. They're all in segment 13, segment D. So I'm thinking there's got to be something screwed up with that data in there. Somehow I'm screwing with the vert cache. I shouldn't be, but I am. Take that, Toad, you slow bastard. Oh, come on, Bowser. Damn you. Bowser, you're just bad. You're just terrible. Why do I pick you? Drive! I'm a waste of my mushrooms. What's that here? No. Oh, again. Go, Bowser, go. Go, Bowser, go. Alright, lap number 3. Crap. Saved. Well done, Bowser. Not bad, not bad. Still not as good as Toad. I don't know if I'm beating Toad on this course. He's a quick little guy. But on that note, I am going to wrap things up for tonight. So if anyone has been watching, thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it. Hope you've enjoyed. Going to have to work a bit more on Toad Village, figure out why the course paths aren't getting put in the right spot, or why the level isn't getting put in the right spot, one of the two. Figure out what's going on with that. Hopefully on another video soon, sometime next week, we'll be playing through that course as well as the ones here. So thank you so much for stopping by and watching. Really appreciate all the support from everyone who's interested in the content that we're making. As always, if you want to see more, go ahead and follow or subscribe wherever platform you're viewing on. Always appreciate people who are interested and want to see more. So thank you guys so much.